Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome to Talk4, the quick-fire podcast where we ask four great questions to unique and interesting people. Behind the mic today on Talk4 is your host, Louis Skupien, that's me, and our special guest for today, Stephen Hunter, who's going to be answering our questions today. Stephen, please introduce yourself and give us a quick rundown of who you are and what you do before I shoot some questions.
Thank you very much, Louis. My name is Stephen Hunter. I am an actor. I am originally from New Zealand and I've been in Australia, Sydney, Australia for the last almost 20 years. I guess most people know me from the Hobbit movies, where I played Bombur, who is a very large, ginger, mostly non-speaking character. And we ended up filming that for probably about 2.5 years in New Zealand, which was the time of my life. And now as I say, I live in Sydney. I'm a voice artist as well. I'm also an acting coach through my business, The Actors Coach. And I've just developed this new online program, so I'm sure we'll talk about that later. But acting for film and TV is what I love to do.
Fantastic. And I came across you through the Hobbit movie. And I have to say, Bombur is a brilliant character. He likes his food, doesn't he?
He certainly does. And, it was one of those characters where they had some lines in the original script, but then they wanted to do all these physical gags. And I had a look at the guy and I thought, visually, he just looks fantastic. And I thought my job is not to do too much and just let the look of the character speak for itself. So, yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I've got to ask, just quickly before we go into the questions, although it is a question in itself, how long did it actually take to get the look when preparing for filming of that character?
Well, to start with, there were like three stages. The prosthetics, which was the main part. And then I think I had 5 pieces of actual silicone prosthetics to put on. Actually, there was a head cap as well, which was latex rubber. So to start with, it was about 2 hours, and that was 2 prosthetic artists, and I think they got it down to like an hour and a half in the end. But then it was like another 40 minutes, 30 to 40 minutes to put all the hair on, and it was yak hair, and they glued it on to the prosthetics. Wow. And then we got changed like in stages. Because I had a extremely large belly, which was looked like a great big cheese, and all the muscles were individually, I guess, buttoned on so we could walk around and run around.
Fantastic. Well, obviously, getting into question number 1 now. I want to hear a little bit about your journey. So for question 1, how did your journey in acting start? What got you into it, and how did it go from there to such amazing movie roles?
Well, it started, I guess, at quite a young age. When I was very, very young, I always liked to talk. I was quite boisterous, and my daughter is the same. And I think I really enjoyed the theatre at a young age. I probably didn't start till I was about 10. And I did all the school musicals. And I guess it was just somewhere I felt comfortable. And, I was probably an overweight kid. Well, I was an overweight kid. And I think acting and theatre was a way to fit in. It was something I was good at. It made people like me, and it gave me a lot of confidence. So that was kind of a survival mechanism for me. And I think a lot of people in the arts, it can be a survival mechanism, or it could be an escape. And it just so happened it's something I really enjoyed. And I always believe if you enjoy doing something, the chances are you're going to be better at it because you're going to commit a lot more time to it. So
very true.
That's kind of where it started. And then I worked in radio for a long time in New Zealand. And then I only really pursued professionally acting in 1998, just before I was 30. And I did that for a couple of years and then moved to Sydney to pursue even more acting, and just really kept going. And I think that's the main thing with acting, is just to keep going and don't stop. Persistence is such a massive thing in this game.
It sure is, isn't it? But no, it seems like you definitely made the right decision there, didn't you, by going into the acting industry?
Oh yeah, I love it, and I get to do it every day. And now, because I'm coaching, I'm still part of it, and I get to see my clients have successes as well, which is really, really fantastic.
Yeah, that must be very gratifying as well. So for question number 2, leading on from question number 1, I wanted to ask about The Hobbit. So how did you get this role, and what was it like being a character in this amazing trilogy?
Well, I had an agent in New Zealand before I moved to Australia in 2003, and I heard whispers that they were going to do a Hobbit movie. I love The Lord of the Rings. I watched all the special features. I sat in front of my computer, and saw them winning all the 12 Academy Awards for Lord of the Rings, and I was always like, I really want to do that. And when The Hobbit came up, I connected again with my New Zealand agent and said, look, if they have auditions, I'd love to do it, and I think I've got a much better chance going through New Zealand. And she agreed. So, lo and behold, an audition came up. I did an audition in Sydney. I didn't even tell them I was based in Sydney. I flew to New Zealand because I knew I'd have a better chance of getting an audition in New Zealand. I flew over there, did the audition, did 2 takes, and basically got cast off that one audition.
Wow, I mean that's amazing. You mentioned at the start that you had the time of your life doing The Hobbit. So I kind of wanted to ask as well, what made it so special for you? What was the most amazing part of, doing that 2.5 year long journey in it?
Oh, definitely the people that we worked with. And, I always tell people, like, there was like 13 dwarves, or 12 or maybe 13 dwarves, and you think I know that answer. And we were all in this trailer park. We all had our own trailers, and quite often they're undercover because of Wellington weather and also paparazzi and stuff like that. And we just had the time of our lives. And it was basically, it was all PlayStation and fart jokes. It was just like little boys at school. Giggling and practical jokes, and a lot of those guys are some of my best friends now. We became very close. So definitely the people, and since then we've gone all around the world. I've been to Atlanta, I've been to Sweden, and a lot of us went to Germany for a thing called HobbitCon that went for about 3 years in a row, and it's now called MagicCon in Bonn, and they just flew us all over. We called it work, but basically it was just a weekend away with our mates. So we did that for about 3 or 4 years in a row. So, and we still keep in touch. And obviously, now that Zoom and everything is so prevalent, we've managed to keep in touch. It's almost been 10 years since we did it.
Tell you what, that's such a nice thing to hear as well, though, because I'm such a big fan of The Lord of the Rings as well and The Hobbit, and just to know that you have that kind of a bond, and you still do with those guys as well, kind of brings an extra meaning really to the movie, doesn't it? And that sort of bond the dwarves all have in it. It's nice how you can kind of find life friends in these kind of situations, though, isn't it? And no, it's just really good to hear, to be honest.
Yeah, but it's because we're all going through this quite extraordinary experience. There was a lot of the guys who've done a lot of films. I mean, obviously, Ian McKellen, Martin Freeman, Jimmy Nesbitt, who played my brother. Me and him got very close while we were there. I think we saw about 6 games of the Rugby World Cup in 2011. He took me to the semi-final. He took me to the final, And,
Brilliant.
But guys like Adam Brown, Graham McTavish, the Kiwi guys, Mark Hadlow, Jed Brophy, John Callum, we still keep in touch, quite a lot. And I think it was such an intense time, and I have to be careful when I use the word intense, because it's definitely in the category of first world problems, right? We worked hard, there were long hours, the prosthetics, all that kind of stuff, but we just had such a great time, and we all shared that together, and it's just a bond that can never be broken. And you see, I know recently that Billy Boyd, who I'm friendly with, he caught up with Elijah Wood, Sean Astin, and Dominic Monaghan, and they did a convention in Calgary recently, and I think it's the first time in 15 years they'd all been together in the same place, and the first time they'd done a convention together. And obviously the bond that they had was incredibly strong. There was only 4 of them, so I kind of get it now.
That's brilliant. So for the next question, I think you're going to like this one. For aspiring actors who want to get into the industry, what advice would you have for beginners? Are there any mistakes to avoid early on, and do you have any tips to improve fast?
It's interesting because the whole everything, when you say improve fast, I mean there are certain things that you can get over quickly. I guess to me it's just about doing something every day, just doing something regularly. Sticking to it, not letting the knockbacks, send you away. It's really interesting that the acting industry, it attracts people who are, we're quite free, we're openly expressive, maybe vulnerable, we wear our heart on our sleeves, and the whole foundation of that industry is based on rejection for, when we go for auditions or trying to get agents, and it's really tough. And I think the one piece of advice I would say early on is just really enjoy it. Do it to really enjoy the art, to, enjoy doing plays, enjoy writing stuff, enjoy filming scenes. Then that way you're going to put more effort into it, you're going to put harder work into it, and those results will follow. I think invest in something, invest in training. As I mentioned, I've got this online course called the Acting Confidence 6-Week Challenge, and basically it's everything, I guess, that I've learned I put into a 30-day challenge that people can do in their own time. And by doing that process, I realized there's so much that I learned over a long period. So anything that, there's two things, right? There's a lot out there that's free. Like, find everything that you can do that's free. There's so many free resources, and do those first. And then if you are going to invest in training, really prioritize, what is it that's going to make a difference right now? Like people go, I just talked to someone tonight saying, I want to invest in American accent. And I'm like, well, that's great. But, are you ready for that? Maybe there's something that, you need to invest in right now. So, do something, but also, look at the free stuff. And then, you do need to put some investment of your time, investment of your money, but, be really specific about what that is, and, I love how you said, how do you get there fast? Because I teach a lot of young people and they all want to get there now. They want to get the agent now. They want to get the jobs now, and it takes time. And, as much as I say I fill in the gaps for people, and I'm basically sharing all my experience and my knowledge and expertise that I've learned over the last 30 years, but you still have to do the work. You still have to go and film scenes. You actually have to practically do it. It's like, I've read all the books about fitness training and how to be fit and, how to run a marathon. But if you don't actually spend all those hours every week in the gym, you're not actually going to make the progress. So, I think it's just be prepared to do the work.
Yeah,
sorry, that was a very long answer.
I love it. It's no, every good thing comes from consistency, doesn't it? There's no really fast results. But just out of interest as well, just a little follow-up question: do you have any agency recommendations for new actors?
I just think I think try and aim for something that is going to be appropriate for where you're at now. Because if you go for the really, really big agents, a lot of big agents, they'll look at your headshot, they'll look at your show reels, because they want to see what you look like and they want to see if you can act. I mean, that's the two things. If you're going to approach an agent, really ask the question, what are they looking for? What do they want? What do they want to see? What don't they want to see? And really knowing that before you send stuff is going to save you a lot of time and heartache. And also, like, if you're just starting out and you've got no credits and you're going for the really big agencies, the chances are they probably won't even look at you because you've got no credits on your books. So, so I just think send out to as many as possible, ask for feedback. Most of the time you won't get feedback, but there's no harm in asking for feedback. And then if you get maybe a lower agent, that means you might start getting some work. And, if you get to the stage where the work that you want to do is higher than what I guess your agent is providing, then that's when you look to upgrade. I think the main thing when looking for agent is that there's a fine line between letting them do their job, because you have to let your agent do their job, but they work for you. As an actor, that's your business. And, whether it be your coach or your accountant or your fitness trainer, or your agent, they're part of your team and they do work for you. But it is a fine line with your agent because you have to take advice from them, in a lot of ways, and you have to let them go and do their job. So, yeah. But I think part of the process is just sending it out. But to do that, you have to make sure you've got the right headshots, that your show reel is good. And I think that's probably the area where people perhaps need to, if they're going to invest some of their time and money, is to invest specifically in those areas when it comes to approaching agents, like advice on what to say or how to write the email or how to cut a good show reel or what should your headshots look like, because then once you've got the agent, then your agent can advise you.
Brilliant advice. So for my fourth and final question, I wanted to ask about the dinner scene in Bilbo's house in An Unexpected Journey. There was a scene where Bofur, I believe, threw a bit of food across the table and you caught it in your mouth. I've got to ask, how many takes was that scene?
I believe that was take 3.
Take 3, wow.
I believe, and it was an egg. And I've had people ask me at conventions whether that was CG. I'm like, nope, I caught it. And the reaction from, I think it was Aidan Turner and Adam Brown next to me, was completely authentic because, and we just got to ad-lib so much. And that was take 3, and I actually caught it in my mouth, and then the reactions were real. There was another time that I'm not sure that it made it, where Graham McTavish, who plays Dwalin, was behind me, and he had a tomato, and then we got to the end of the scene, and I was struggling. And he goes, "What were you doing? Why didn't you?" I was trying to shove the tomato in your mouth. Why were you struggling so much? And I had to tell him that he was actually trying to shove it up my nostril because my nose was so big and with the prosthetic. So, we spent probably a couple of weeks in Bag End with Peter Jackson on main unit, and then I think we spent another 2 weeks in second unit, which I think that's when the egg throw happened with Andy Serkis. He was directing the second unit. So we were in there for about a month filming all the food fights and all that kind of stuff.
That's so funny. How long did it take to get the that's what Bilbo Baggins hates song? How long did that take to get perfect?
I'm not too sure whether we would have spent a few days, possibly a week doing that. Obviously, a lot of that was CGI as well. Like with a lot of the plates, they added some things to it. We actually recorded a lot of that in the studio, like the Misty Mountains. Like we actually did a recording. I have a credit on IMDb as a recording artist because of Blunt the Knives, which I treasure. It was quite a lengthy process. We did a lot of the filming, and then there was obviously a lot of post-production, and then we went into the studio to do a lot of the singing as well. Although I think I was mainly humming, especially in the Misty Mountains song.
Excellent. So that is our 4 questions done for today, and before we wrap it up, it is time for the shameless plug. Stephen, please feel free to take a minute and promote anything you're working on, want people to take a look at, or just something you believe in.
Fantastic. Well, I've been talking about it today, and something I'm really passionate about is helping a lot of young actors, try and navigate everything there is to know about trying to get agents, or what makes a good show reel, or how to do auditions. And it's amazing with all the schools that we've got out there, how much stuff they don't actually cover. So I decided that I was going to be an acting coach after, I guess, a couple of years of resisting it. And that's what I do now. I do one-on-ones. I've got a website called theactorscoach.com.au. It's theactorscoach.com.au. I do one-on-ones, but I've just launched a brand new online program called Acting Confident. It's the Acting Confident 6-week challenge and the Acting Unleashed coaching program, and it goes for like a 3-month period, and you can do it all on your phone. It's basically an app. So that's what I'm doing, and hopefully that's going to make a difference to a lot of people, fill in the gaps, and take out a lot of the trial and error for the young actors.
Brilliant. Stephen, thank you so much for joining me today for the Talk4 podcast. It has been a pleasure having you on.
Oh, same here. Thank you.
Brilliant.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys for listening. See you in the next episode, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Signing off for now.